Welcome to another episode of Collective Conversations. I'm your host, Mike Brewer, and I am excited for today's episode with Johnney Zhang, CEO and founder of Primior, and the creator of the United States Property Coin, or USPC, which is really the big lion's share of our topic today. Johnney, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Mike. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you investing a little bit of your time with us. And speaking of investments, or let's first have you introduce yourself to our audience, and then we're going to talk about an investment vehicle, which I think is very exciting for the multifamily space.
Sure, no problem. My name is Johnney Zhang. I'm Asian Chinese, born and raised in China, actually Wuhan. So I haven't go back to Wuhan for 4 years since COVID. So I went to England for study, then came to the United States about 2012. Started my Primior company, was a construction company that moved into developments. So today, Primior is a full service integrated development company. We do under management company. So we do buy property, design house. We do entitlements, we do construction, we do property management and leasing in-house for our own project and for other investors as well. And USPC is my new endeavor. I've been following blockchain technology since 2012, since I got here. I never invested because I always fail to see fundamental value of where cryptocurrencies is so awesome, but I can't see the value. I don't understand why it's $100, why is it $2,000. I have no idea. So I always hesitate to invest. And then I try to find something with tangible value, with some sort of assets or value I can understand. I couldn't do it. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I want to do it myself. So I'll create this, they call it security token, and your assets is a new type of asset for cryptocurrency. It's backed by real world assets. I obviously use the asset I know the best, I like the most is real estate as an asset to back this new cryptocurrency. It's called the United States Property Coins, aka USPC. I created this last year. I published my white paper January. I made update of March, May, and then here we are. So we're launching the coin next month.
I love that, and it's so I'm an old guy, right? I'm almost 51 years old, and I have been in the real estate industry for about 30 years, and I've always thought that, hey, and I invest a lot in real estate, and it's because I think, to speak to one of your points, your implied points is I can actually go out and touch that real estate, right? And if that real estate starts to get off the tracks, I can go out there and hopefully make an impact to get that piece of real estate back on track, right? And so I've always felt some security in the sense that I have this thing that I can touch and feel and impact in some way that backs up my investment. But what you're talking about is opening up an entirely new world to an entirely new set of investors. Is that right? Or one way to think about that in terms of backing or using crypto backed by real estate?
Yeah, so in my opinion, right, it's still real estate investing for USPC, but I'm using blockchain technology to make traditional real estate more liquid. That's the biggest change you can do it. Back to your mention about real estate, right? It's something that's not going to disappear. It's always going to be here. Nobody can steal it. It can be burned. The hurricane can destroy it. The land will still be there, and you can rebuild it, right? It's something that's not going to go away. Everything can go away. The gold can be stolen. Everything can go away, right? The dollar is depreciating because of inflation. The buying power is going down. The cryptocurrencies, we all know they can disappear very fast. Like Luna, right? Literally vanished in less than a week. So I don't know about Luna. That was a really big stable coin backed by algorithm smart contracts. Just over, I think, $400 billion market cap, literally crashed and vanished within a week or so. So because it's not real, so it's all artificially created, the market cap. So that I think real estate is the best asset you can have because it's scarcity assets, always can appreciate in a long time, right? And it's just best asset you have, and right, and you have rental income, so it's actually having passive income coming from it. So it's awesome. But the biggest problem with real estate is the liquidity. It has always been the biggest problem with real estate, right? You buy real estate, you can't sell them right away. If you want to get out of it, you can't have to sell the entire real estate. You can't sell fractional ownership. It just doesn't work that way. People are invented REITs to do that, But then Visa has all these other restrictions as well. It's not a really true decentralized way to do it. So blockchain technology actually offers, I think for me, is like the first opportunity I see that's meaningful and useful, can make real estate more liquid than ever before.
And so in practical terms, if I own a USPC and fractional ownership of a piece of real estate, and you I want to liquidate that, and you come along, I just simply do a transfer of my coin to you in exchange for, right? Is that, and that's the
So
unlocking of.
yeah, so being a cryptocurrency, you have these benefits, right? Come in defaults, like you use a blockchain, other cryptocurrencies like Bitcoins or Ethereum. What you do is you have your coins in your wallet, so you own it 100%. It's in your possession, right? And a quick example, if you compare stocks, you don't technically own a public stocks because it's in a broker dealer. You have an account with the broker dealer. You basically have a claim against it, but you don't own it. Right? It's on the broker dealer's name, and they then have the stock in the depository, right? So they really don't have that too, right? Then it's trading on stock market, which is what, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, right? And it's only in US, right? So Nasdaq on your stock, you only trade in US. And if you want to withdraw the money or just say withdraw the stocks, well, you have to first sell it first. You can't just withdraw the stock to you, right? You have to sell stock first and get the cash, pay your capital gain taxes, then get the remaining, balance. Now you can freely use the money in dollar. Now, if you want to send that value of dollar to your relatives in, say, Canada, you have to do international wire. That costs you $50, and the process for you to sell your stock, withdraw the money, and send the money to Canada, it takes you what, 3 to 5 days sometimes, and it costs $50 to do it, right? And you have to pay taxes. If you're a token, first of all, you own the tokens, your own possession. So you don't need any intermediary, you don't need any centralized agency to send things around. It's all on blockchain. So you can send the token itself to anybody you want in Canada, Africa, for that sake. And they're peer-to-peer, without anybody in the middle. And you can send it 2 o'clock in the Sunday morning, and you will arrive in 10 seconds. It costs you $3, on Ethereum. So it's pretty revolutionary the way you can do it. And of course, if you want to sell them to your open market, you can actually, there's a lot of marketplace, and you can just go on them and just sell them on the exchange, right? And then you can still get liquid. You can demand what kind of any payment you want. So,
So you basically, in my limited understanding of this, you're basically, you in a sense, you're cutting out all these intermediaries and thereby reducing all the fees that are associated with those intermediaries, thereby keeping sort of a stable intrinsic value in your investment. Is that fair to say?
yes, that's the whole thing about Web3, right? Web3 is read, write, and own, right? You own your own data, you own your own value. You don't need a middleman to facilitate the transfers. Right now, I mean, all the traditional financial systems being using banks, right, to basically transfer money, right? Then, and all your money is in the bank. So if banks, something goes wrong with them, say bank system crashed, you can't send international wire. If your ATM crash, you can't draw money from ATM. You're done, right? So obviously that's not going to happen. I don't think so, but it's a possibility, right? So and then the banks, as we know, when U.S. kicked Russia out of the SWIFT system, all their U.S. dollar reserves are useless. They can't use them. They can't access them. They can't send them around because the banks are rely on the SWIFT system to send the money around, right? Without that, you can't do anything. So blockchain provides alternative rail, allows anybody to basically send values, send data, send anything you want across the globe without anybody in the middle. And you don't need anybody, and nobody can shut you down. So if Russia used it, even though we wanted to, we couldn't kick them out of the blockchain system. So that's a truly decentralized way to basically for people to send value or send data, whatever you want. So I would consider this an alternative. So we still use banking system. This is an alternative. So keep some of your money, some of your value here in case something happened in the financial system. Then this is your backup, right? So and these things are going to grow bigger and bigger.
So in your mind, if you were a novice looking to use this vehicle to make an investment, you would say, hey, and look, I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm not going to put you in the position of being a financial advisor, but hey, here in the early innings, think about a piece of your investment in this type of asset class because it's going to get better and it's going to become more and more secure over time, more potentially regulated over time. But as it does, you could probably feel safe about putting more and more of your assets into this type of investment vehicle. Is that fair to say?
Yes, definitely. Because I think being a security token, being on blockchain, just make a lot more sense. It's so much faster, and you own it, your own thing. You don't have to rely on third party. People like it. These are what people want right now. They don't trust our governments. Honestly, a lot of people don't trust the government. They don't trust our monetary policies. They don't
Yep.
trust banks, right? So especially when that happens, so they need something that they some systems sort of like blockchain. They don't need them to do anything. People rely on the bank, and the U.S. have been relying on banking system for so long, and it's unavoidable. You can't do anything without a bank. Well, now blockchain provides you opportunity. You don't need a bank. I think that's the whole reason why people are getting on the blockchain, believing the ideas. Right? I like technology so much. The only problem I see is there's no tangible value. Everything just all like I call them air coin because they're all created out of air. There's nothing you can touch, you can feel. These all for me is all like Ponzi schemes, right? But I like the technology. So this is my first endeavor to. You know what? I like real estate, but the problem is this being liquid. I like blockchain. The problem is no tangible intrinsic value. Oh, I can put them together and make it work. And I think I'm not going to be the first doing it. I think in the future, companies can tokenize their shares, right? And there already are people tokenize the real estate property. I'm not the first one to do it, but they tokenize individual properties, right? People are already doing that. So it just have so much benefit. It makes so much more sense by being a traditional stock, right? So and again, if you don't want to ever lease your security token on or security token exchange, there's a lot less requirements, a lot less fees, a lot faster compared to your Nasdaq or stock exchange.
Sure, that makes sense. And so, segueing to the reason I learned about you, I read an article I think in Multifamily Executive, and it was about your first asset that is going to be a back here USPC. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So the first asset is a seed asset in Venice Beach, right? So it's two units actually. So two units, single family, built together. I don't think it's considered multi-family or not because like I think the over units could be considered multi-family, but in terms we use, I think over 5 units, right, will be considered multi-family. I think the
Yeah,
other part is not really multi-family. But however, what's funny is these tenants I rented to is a master lease and sending tenants. They did this thing called co-living. They were able to find a way in California, a legal way to housing 80 people in these two houses in Venice Beach. So then create something that's more like affordable luxury housing opportunity for people. So as you know, Venice Beach in Los Angeles, California, has a lot of people move out of the state when they first come here either it's college or finding work. They want to be by the beach, right? Venice is really close. My apartment is like 10 minutes away from the beach. It's really close. That's the lifestyle California offers, right? But it's really expensive. To rent a house is $15,000 a month. You have a good job, good income, and they have to pay a security deposit and the first month rents and buy furniture. A lot of people just no way they can afford it ever. So these now charge people $1,000 a month as a month to month, and you don't need furniture. You literally pack your stuff. You come here. You live in a small bunk actually,
yeah,
but you don't have privacy. But you live in a community where is the people in your age, you hang out together. There's community kitchen, there's community workshop, there's a gym. Actually, you turn around the garage to a gym. So this is a great concept where when you have first time you don't have a lot of friends, you can make all the friends here. It's like a what do you call that youth house or boarding thing, right?
yeah.
But by month is a membership only. Actually, they do membership, not like sell by daily. So it's actually pretty popular in Los Angeles because there's a huge housing shortage and for affordability issue as well. People can't afford a house and they can't find a house. So this solves two problems. So I own this property and I built it myself from ground up and then rented to these tenants. I thought, well, this is perfect USPC because the whole idea about USPC is I want to make real estate more affordable to invest for everybody. I want to make real estate more accessible, right? Then then also help solving the housing crisis. So this is perfect, right? So okay, I'm going to make this the first asset to put in USPC. I think this is in line with the USPC value.
That is so. Now that I understand them more fully, that is awesome. When I read the article and I was looking at the picture of the property, I was thinking that it was like a multi-unit. Right to your point about 5 units or more, I was thinking it was like an 80-unit community, but it's 2 units, 80 beds, common area.
Yeah, yeah. Well, why I says 2 units, actually, 2 buildings that have two separate APNs. Yeah, so that's why it says 2 units because they're two separate. They're actually technically two properties on the same lot, subdivided. Because California and Los Angeles allow you to subdivide a lot, so it's actually two separate APNs. You can send them separately, two separate addresses.
I understand. Okay, I
But
understand.
we have 40 people in each house, so it's 80 people. So density wise, I would consider more the family.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So I have a sort of an interesting side, or I think it's an interesting sidebar question. So the 80, I know it's on subscription, so it sounds like it could be a transient type community where people are moving in and out frequently, or with some frequency, because they really can just pick up their stuff and move, right? But are any of those individuals who occupy that building investors in the, or they, like you could literally end up in a situation where somebody who lives there actually buys some USPC and participates in the deal, right?
That's why I like it too because the older millennial Gen Z, those are the people I want to be included, right, in USPC as a shareholder. So my goal is to literally have as much Americans own USPC as possible, starting with $1, right? So going own a piece of real estate $1. And so those will be my target investor. You're right. I'm gonna go there, do a roadshow, do a presentation, down. Hey, look, hey guys, we're all like, connecting somehow. So I'll offer you a opportunity to buy them, right? When it's ready to buy them. They can literally buy with $1, right? That's they can say, okay, I own this property. Now I own it, right? For $1, I own it, right? So one problem about Venice Beach, though, there's so much homeless issue there, right? So it's getting out of control. So by having the residents or people around you own a piece of that property, they're gonna take ownership. They're gonna be like, oh, I see something wrong here. I'm gonna report to management. I'm gonna do something about it because I own it. I don't want my asset to get damaged or whatever, right? So that's another way I think it would benefit USPC's property as well, because having all those people that be my watchdog, literally, like, be protective of this property that they all own together, right?
Yeah, I imagine as well the delinquency, like somebody who's not paying their rent or their share of the subscription fee or whatever, they're more likely to pay their rent on time because they might have ownership in the deal, right?
Exactly, exactly. But this is pretty affordable. A lot of people can pay for it, but and they're not a renter, so I guess if they're not really paying for it, you can kick them out easier than being a renter on a lease, right? So, but that's not what I do because the management company is the one. I'm the master landlord, and then at least to the corporate tenants, I get a fixed income from me no matter what. Then they do membership to their members, so it doesn't matter what happened to them. If they collect around or not, I'm getting paid.
I understand. I understand. So when you're thinking about that, you actually hire third party property management companies to run the real estate, or do you have a property management?
To do I have a permanent company myself. But we only do long term leases. We don't manage the short term leases. So this for me considered short term. So I have this third party. This is a brand. It's called Haven. Is a co living brand. They actually do that for a living. They rent some landlord sign 5 to 10 year lease, and then they turn around, modify the space, and put those bunk beds. Then they find their members to live in there. So that's their is actually entire business is to do that. So they pay me 30,000. I pay me $30,000, and they charge a lot more than that. So
Sure, sure, sure. I understand. You have fixed income, and then they whatever their subscription fee yields
yeah,
them.
that's the thing for me is like, okay, so I think real estate is a great asset. I think everybody should own real estate. A lot of people actually don't want to buy real estate right because they don't want to get into a mortgage and they have to be paying the mortgage for 30 years. Young people like to travel, they don't want to be stuck in a space, but they still need to get into real estate because real estate is the best hedging against inflation. And they're thinking about the for American Americans, they don't have a lot of other ways to actually get any investment. Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna put the money in the banks, make no money, buy bonds, no returns, and then what are you gonna do? Stocks risky, crypto is risky, right? They can't afford to buy real estate too. It's pretty expensive for them to buy. So USPC is easier, right? Anybody can buy it. Is not we're not everyone can be included, right? So regardless of age, gender, background, anybody can buy it. So and we're starting $1, so make it a low barrier to entry and easier for people to buy. And then I think everybody eventually should be part of this. Maybe not USPC, maybe something else similar, but it makes sense to get into real estate and build a wealth and build a retirement from real estate because it just is for me it's this best asset you can own in the whole world. But to do that though, I'm trying to not take any risk. So because imagine myself, okay, well if I did really good, and a lot of Americans own this. I want to make, obviously I have foreign can also own this too. I have all these people own this, but they count down USPC to with their wealth for their retirement, whatever the purpose is. It I cannot fail them. So I need to make sure this investment strategy is so solid, so sound. There's minimal risk for them. So I decided like I'm only going to do income producing property in their stabilized property in high demand market where you know it's going to grow, the population grow, the demand's growing in the next 30, 40, 50 years. I'm doing less than 50% leverage, right? I like all kind of metrics I'm putting in there just to make sure that I'm providing maximum safety, maximum reliability instead of maximum returns. As we all know, I'm a developer. I do a lot of developments. That's high risk, high reward, but there's really high risk. I don't want to give that to the investors of USVC.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think to your point, one of the things I caught when you were going through that is really one of the best wealth creation vehicles, at least in the United States, over long bits of time. If you're patient, right, is real estate, and to your other point, like because of the appreciation over time, especially if you're in markets with high barriers to entry, it's very hard to build or it's regulated or whatever. It only, I mean, it does this sometimes, but most of the time it's just like this over a long bit of time, right? So it's safe.
Exactly, and especially under this hyperinflation area. We're not hyperinflation yet, but this high inflation area, real estate is the best hedging against inflation, literally best. And I think I consider real estate better than gold. Because people you think about gold is best hedging against inflation. I think real estate is better because first of all, real estate appreciate faster than inflation, so it actually beats inflation. And secondly, real estate has rental income. You can rent them out to collect income. You can't do that with gold. You're gonna have a pile of gold. You can look at it. You can't do anything with it. Real estate, you can rent them out, right? And then it's just a lot better, right? And real estate is actually a scarcity asset. We cannot make more, right? And it's actually for me is a commodity. People need it. We are working in real estate. We need living in real estate. Our water come from real estate. Our food come from real estate. I mean, it's just something we can't make more, and we're stuck with it until Elon Musk find a way to send everybody to Mars. We're stuck here. So I still think it's scarcity asset for a very long time. So so anyway, so I want people to be part of real estate. We live on Earth, so why don't you own a piece of where you live, right? And it just makes a lot of sense. But I think U.S. real estate is the best market. So that's why I call it the United States public coin. So we only invest in U.S.
Yeah, yeah, obviously I've never, well, not obviously, but I've not worked outside of the United States, so I don't understand real estate in other countries. But I read a lot about U.S. real estate, and a lot of people are attracted to U.S. real estate. So for those stability reasons.
Yeah, it's the bulk. For me, it's the most stable asset. Where I'm confident U.S. real estate will continue to appreciate for the next 30, 40, 50 years. On other countries, I'm not sure about. I came from China. I was in England to study. I made investment in England too. So I'm not. I don't even like those both markets, China and UK. So that represent a part of Europe. I don't really like those. So I think US is always best. Where the population is growing faster. I mean, China's slowing down the population growth, and UK is not really growing much. But the thing that drives demand is population growth, right? And the U.S. has still a really good positive population growth, and we still have so much virgin land that has yet to be developed, and there's a huge housing shortage here. So there's so much opportunity in the U.S. Why look at everywhere else? It's safe.
Yeah.
You have still giving tremendous returns. One thing I do want to mention, people might ask, people already ask me a lot of times, what's the big difference between USPC and the REITs? Right? We used to do the same thing, right? Well, I mentioned earlier, like major different reasons in the stock market. So we're security tokens, so we're 24/7, where you can only directly, you're not like you don't have to only through broker dealer, right? It's just all that benefit aside on blockchain. Investment strategy is a little bit different too, because REITs, in order to qualify as a REITs, you have to give out 90% of the dividends, your cash as dividend to investors. USD is not doing that. So what we do is we believe in compound interest. Warren Buffett is my favorite investor.
Yes.
I've read all his books, and he did say that is a compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. So I believe in that truly. So I think the best way is to actually for us to accumulate all the rental incomes to reinvest them, right? Reinvest those rental incomes to buy more properties. The goal is to for USP become the biggest landlord, one of the biggest landlord, not biggest, but one of the biggest landlord, hopefully the biggest in US. And then own as much property as possible. We buy them, we never sell them. We'll buy them, we never sell them. We'll accumulate rent, we buy more. And then eventually, USPC will be owned by American people because it's all decentralized. People own the shares, they can vote, right? It's like it's all truly owned by the investors of which is American people. So and then and we have a DAO system. A lot of people do vote on a lot more decisions than traditional stocks, right? It can a lot more issues because we can automate all those the voting system. So that's pretty cool that we're going to release later. So we're the first one that's doing that right now. Actually, as far as I know, on the DAO system that managing the voting governance of their corporations. But I'm really excited about what we do here. So
Oh, I can tell in your voice and like you're getting amped up. I love it, and I've been for who knows, probably dating back to like 12, 13, 14, like paying attention to blockchain, but never really getting fully sort of invested in learning more about it. But as of late, have started to do more. So I'm going to lead up to a question. So I have a Coinbase wallet, right? So in my mind, is it right to think that I buy a USPC token and it goes right into that wallet? Is that how that works?
so Coinbase has two things. So one is a wallet.
Yes.
It's just an app that displays your wallet, your holdings on the blockchain, right? So your things are still on the blockchain. The wallet app just displays whatever you own, right? Obviously, that stores your private key there. And then you have a Coinbase exchange. That's a centralized one. That's where you buy and sell your tokens in the Coinbase. So another example is MetaMask, right? MetaMask supports Ethereum. So when you say buy something on the exchange, like say Binance, Coinbase, or Crypto.com, or Gemini, whatever you buy them, you can actually send those coins. You can withdraw. You have two choices: you can withdraw fiat currency (USD), or you can withdraw your coins then directly to your own wallet. So when you buy through those exchanges, it's still like buying stock through a broker dealer. You don't own it; it's in their accounts, but you can withdraw it. It's a difference between stock and token. You can withdraw the token under stock, like a Robinhood, right? You can still buy crypto, but you can't withdraw crypto. You can only withdraw USD, right? You can withdraw stocks too, right? So by being a token, those platforms allow you to withdraw the token or coins. Now you can withdraw it to your own wallet. Now the wallet is only on your app. Nobody have access to it besides you, and that's the truly decentralized one. Yes, you can have USPC on your wallet, and it's actually on the blockchain. You can search it on the blockchain too, and everybody can see. It's all transparent. Actually, everybody can see how much you have, and then but nobody can access it. You only one have access to it. Nobody else has it. It's your wallet, and you have all control over it. And you access it through this thing called the private key, right? If you lost your private key, then you lose everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. That actually makes a lot of sense to me. And I do have that private key that's like 50,000 words. You have to like make up.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's the part that they're trying to solve. There's a lot of scams around. If you ever anybody asks you to give you private keys, don't give them. They're scamming you. No, anybody. So don't give private key no one. If you lose it, you're down. And that's one thing about it though. So because all these other coins are built by smart contracts, so nobody can control them. That's a good thing. The bad thing is if you just lost, nobody can help you get it back. Right? That's the bad part about it. So, but for a lot of people, actually, majority of people, they're not really tech savvy. They need help, right? They need help to navigate those. Right? If they could get scammed, right? So if you bought a lot of Bitcoin, you got scammed. Nobody can help you. Literally, nobody can help you. So, but the way I design USPC, I have that in consideration. I'm like, okay, look, the law requires me to KYC everyone, and the law requires me to put restrictions on the sales of the token sold Because say if I sell some token through Reg D, which is accredited investor only, I can't allow them to resell those tokens for 12 months. So I have to customize the smart contract to build those restrictions on my smart contract to basically ban the sale for 30, 65 days before they release, they can sell them. So I then building this technology about it allows me to mint and burn coins. So for example, if you bought 10,000 USPC and you lost your private keys and then they stole everything, Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDT, USDC, and USPC. I can't help you with the other coins, but I can actually trace where the coin was transferred to. I can burn the coin in the hacker's wallet and re-mint the coin and give it back to you because they're shares, right? So I still control smart contracts in a way. I can burn the coin. So that gives some investors, especially those are not tech savvy, that hey, you know what? If I lost it, then they can actually help me get it back. So they have a little bit more comfort on that part. But a lot of people in the true crypto world, they don't like it. They're like, oh, then you're not truly decentralized, right? And then so you can still get it back, right? So well, but I still think a majority of the people still need that sort of comfort, that help, because people do lose their things, or if you what if you forget the private keys?
That's right.
They can't do it anyway, right? So
That's right. Yeah, it's while you were talking there, it came to mind to me like wealth creation by way of real estate. Sometimes you have to be like an accredited investor, right? You have to be to meet all these criteria in order to be able to build wealth, real wealth in the world of real estate. But it's right to say like that all goes away, right? Because of this fractional ownership fact that you can just invest a dollar. You don't have to have all this real estate knowledge background or this high net worth or any of that kind of stuff. This is open to anyone.
right. And in order for us to do that, we'll have to use either be a public company like IPO, because which we're not going to do that yet. We're using this exemption called Reg A, Regulation A, that allows you private companies to sell up to $75 million worth of shares to a non-accredited investor in a 12-month period of time. So we're doing that right now. So we're getting approval from SEC to allow us to do Reg A, which is gonna take a little bit longer time actually, because digital assets, security token, they're gonna be more sensitive, but they're gonna ask a lot more questions than when they ask other questions. So we're gonna take a little bit more time for us to get approved. But once you get approved, we're allowed to sell this token to non-accredited investors. That's actually what I want to do, because I don't want to. That's a part I'm really proud of is okay. Now we're on Web3. Web3 is all about owned, right? All about have every people can own their own data, right? Web2 is like Facebook. They own Google. They control all the data. You don't own data. So Web3 is all about own. People like that part, and I want to give the ownership back to the holder investor. So I want people to be included. I want everybody to include. I don't want people only credit investors can buy it, right? Because real estate traditionally has been exclusive to wealthy people, right? Wealthy family offices. I have a family office I run myself, so it's good for me. But I think a lot of, but you're right. Like real estate is the best tool to build wealth. So I think those people deserve it, right? So by USPC offer that through Reg A allows people to buy at the USPC with a really minimum investment. I think that's a great thing for us to do, actually.
Definitely. And so I read on your Twitter page, you had tweeted a couple of weeks ago with a sort of an announcement. It looks like November the 17th, 2022 is your launch date. Is that still, you're still on track to launch on?
The initial launch day, and right now it's not possible to hit it. We'll have to really stretch, rethink, but we might have to delay because we have no control over ACC. So,
Yeah, you're
so
working with the government. Yeah, I can understand that remark.
exactly. So because we're a security token, we have to be fully compliant with the security laws. Versus if you buy any other coins, they can just sell whatever the coin they want with no regulations, totally unregulated. So those are the coins that Coinbase. You mentioned Coinbase. Every coins on Coinbase is unregulated. SEC is trying to find a way to get himself in. You see all this news, they'll go, "Oh, this token is security token." They're gonna be like, "Oh, security token, okay, we're gonna delist it." So that way they don't have to ever be subject to regulation by SEC because they don't want it. People don't want to be regulated. And that's why Binance is not geo-block Americans. They're the biggest exchange in the whole world. their volume trading was 3 times bigger than Coinbase. They blocked Americans. No American buy or open account with Binance because they don't want to deal with the SEC.
I
My
understand.
idea is like SEC is here protecting investors, right?
Sure.
And
Sure.
it's not such a bad thing to have SEC regulate you because now you make sure you're doing something right. Someone's watching over you, right? And plus we are real estate and we are offering equity in the real estate. There's no argument that it is security, right? There's no argument. I've seen a lot of other people actually try to do this. They try to find a way to make it not a security token. They go, okay, you buy my coins as a coupon, then you can buy real estate on my platform, but 10% of the payment have to be used, have to be this token. And they try to create all this round to sell their token, which is another way to raise money, which is usually they kind of pass the Howey test. The Howey test says if you sell a token to raise money, that's a security too. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway, I don't know how they do it. Deal with SEC. They're probably going to get the FBI knock on the door every time soon. Uh, but those are the tricks people are trying to play to go around the SEC regulations. But here in United USPC, we're like, hey, we embrace it. We think it's a good thing. We want to be compliant.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, if you're working in an existing infrastructure and you're working with that infrastructure, and because that infrastructure at least has some innate trust built into it based on a long bit of time being in place, right? Why not play along or
Exactly.
play by those rules? Because in my head, you're going to open yourself to, right? This over here is a fringe. And the fringe players play in the fringe space. And sometimes guys like me will go play over there and we might lose our shirt or whatever. But if you play in this other structure that is much more safe because of this time, because of the inherent safety in it, regulation in it, then you're just going to have this huge audience of people that would be attracted to your investment.
Exactly. So SEC right now don't have a clear regulation about crypto at all. The lawmaker trying to make the law. They're trying to do that. So I think eventually they will get it done. I don't know how long it's going to take. Maybe 2-3 years, maybe longer. But once they get it done, you're right. I can see a lot of institutional money actually now starting coming in a lot faster than now to the space because now there's clear regulation. People feel comfortable about it, right? So right now we're abandoning the digital asset law of the part of security law, which has been around for a few decades. So that's really clear. That's good. We're doing everything by the book. That's correct. But I think they're gonna write a new set of rules to regulate specifically for security tokens and cryptocurrency. Then when that law comes, then there's going to be a lot of money or capital come to the space. But we'll be in the space a long time before that even happens. So we're in a good position there, being there.
Yeah, yeah, you're a first mover. I like it.
And whatever the law says, if the country will whatever we do, and we'll be grandfathered in anyway. So that's the part I like about the country is like if you issue a new law, then you're grandfathered in, right? You're not breaking the law if you did it before the law even happens. Versus in China, they can issue a new law. If you do something that's not compliant with the law like 5 years ago, you're still breaking the law.
Oh, that's tough. That's tough.
Yeah. But
Well,
I think it's going to put more restrictions on the digital security asset because the security token is basically allow people to do a mini IPO without really doing IPO, and they're so subject to law license requirements, disclosure agreements, everything. I think most likely they're going to do is they're going to regulate it. They're going to put more restrictions, more disclosure requirements on those security tokens, which will still be less intensive than a real public stock IPO, but will be more requirement than the private company, which you don't disclose anything, right? So it'll be something in the between.
that makes sense to me. Well, I'm very excited for what you're doing. I'm very excited to bring this message out to our multifamily. This is both a podcast and a video thing, so our listeners and our watchers. I'm very interested in you sharing where can people learn more about this. We'll link all that stuff up in the show notes so we can hopefully drive some traffic to your website.
Appreciate it. I would love that because we need more people to help us to to spread the word, right? So people can learn USPC by going to uspc.io is on the official website. Then you can join the wait list. Then we'll give you all the updates as soon as we have them. You can be on the wait list. As one thing I do want to mention is we're actually running a survey to collect market data and help us, get feedbacks on the product. So the survey is like 3 minutes. It's very short. It's at survey.uspc.io. So survey.uspc.io. You go there, you enter email, you complete a 3 minute survey. Then you'll be entered to thank everyone who helped with USPC's feedback. You will be entered into a sweepstake where we're giving out $100,000 in prizes. So the grand prize will be Tesla Model 3. Then we'll have a Maldives trip for 2. Have USPC we're giving out, and Amazon and the iPhone 14 we're giving out. I mean, the Tesla Model 3. So people who help us, with the 3 minutes of the time, will be able to enter the sweepstake, and they have a chance to win a Tesla Model 3.
Oh, I love that. Okay. I've been to your website. I watched your video. I saw the survey link there. So not only can you go to the website that you just shared, but I think you can access that survey through
Yes.
the website homepage.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll link all of that up in the show notes. And yes, anybody listening and or watching, please go there and take the survey. That would be very helpful to Johnney. And we want to help him with his community, definitely. So Johnney, any parting words to leave our audience with before we sign off here?
No, I couldn't think of anything joining blank here, but thanks for everybody for listening. And if you have any questions about USPC, if you have any concern or any constructive feedback you want to give to us, then someone can reach out to us. You can go to the website, then you can contact us. You can go to join our Discord community. You can raise a question there or answer a question right away, or you can message me on Twitter, or or leave a comment on Twitter, one post, or respond right away. We're growing really fast. Community, we're growing. We just started doing some like a pre-launch marketing promotion literally like a month or so ago. We already have almost 3,000 people in our Discord community, so it's going pretty fast. I'm really proud of that. I think this is a product people really likes, and I really want everyone to help me to make sure this is just a good product everybody wants, right? Build it to the way people want. So
Definitely. Well, we're going to do everything we can to help you promote, and then when you do launch officially, I'd love to have you back and kind of talk about the experience of leading up to that moment and actually launching out and seeing how successful it is.
yeah, we don't know what's going to happen on launch, so I'm really excited to see that, right? So yeah, I'll definitely want to come back and tell more about and give you more of the feedback I have. But I think eventually we'll be the very first one to do this. But I think eventually you'll see more companies doing it, being tokenizing their shares. There'll be more security tokens coming up. It just make a lot more sense. So
I agree with you, and thank you for educating me. I mean, this was a kind of a selfish interest in that I wanted to learn more and learn it from someone who really knows it and is doing it. So thank you very much for investing your time.
welcome. I like to do more of this because we need educated general public, more people about this security, talking about everything. People to learn about it, right? And this is a good thing. I like to do more of this. So
Definitely, we'll help you. We'll help you do that, Johnney.
okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and for everyone else, we'll see you next time on Collective Conversations.